So I'm so excited to have this pairing here because there are so many interesting similarities and complementary skill sets that you have. So Bela, I want to start with you. Tell us, what is it about your approach? What is your personal superpower that has enabled you to grow Netflix into this massive content business?
My leadership superpower is really that I hire really smart people and I let them do their job. And I think that also a little bit comes from, growing up in this kind of big extended Indian family, and it's about village and community and lots of people, and that idea of the chemistry of the team, but really hiring great people and empowering them, and what that chemistry of that team is really important to me.
What about you, Jenny? What do you think your superpowers are?
I would definitely say my superpower is taking risk. I wouldn't say it was always that, but it has become that over time. And did any of you see the Roger Federer commencement speech this year? And he talked about how many points over his career on average that he won. And it's like you would guess, like some pretty high number, 54%, which is crazy. But I relate to it a lot. Every single day in trading, we are winning and losing. And it's roughly like 53, 54%. So I've gotten really good at it, not because I was inherently good at it, because I've done a lot of it over time.
We have an audience question, Jen.
Yeah, for Jenny, in these new uncertain financial times, how do you feel about the landscape for fundraising for new and emerging businesses?
I think it is always challenging, and we just made it harder. And I think we don't know what we don't know, based on, every comment out of the news changes the market one way or another, which really is whipsawing CEOs and sort of, their hands are tied behind their back because I don't know to believe or not to believe. So, the private markets will tend to follow and get really worried. So I find it to be an unfortunate time.
Failures are inevitable. You're going to make shows that don't work. You're going to have trades that don't work. What is your secret to bouncing back from setbacks?
I think for me, I had, a big public failure, which I thought was the greatest learning lesson. So I was fired right here at Universal, by the way. So back to the scene of the crime. Full circle. I was running the studio here. I was fired, right? It was very public, obviously. And it was it was by the way, it was horrific when it happened. But what I learned, and I think people don't talk about, right? I had to go home and tell my kids I was fired, and it's such a weird thing that nobody talks about, like how you explain that, and how kids would really understand what that meant, and it was so great to really check myself during those few months of like, I thought my job was my identity. I was very clear that it wasn't, and then I was like, ooh, why do I have all these feelings? I think it might be really linked to sort of identity, and I had a little bit of all those amazing shows, all those great relationships I built. I treated people so fairly. We had a lot of success. Wow, it meant nothing. And then I quickly realized, right, as the phone rang and I got job offers and everybody reached out and people were really supportive, I'm like, it all mattered.